ever felt that chill creeping into your home, even when the heating's supposedly on full blast,
Mhm.
and then you watch, almost dreading it as your energy bill just climbs higher and higher?
Yeah, it's a horrible feeling. Far too common.
Exactly. Or maybe you've dreamt of a genuinely warm home, like properly warm without it costing the earth, and maybe doing your bit for the planet too. Well, you're definitely not alone if you have. So today we're doing a deep dive into a really significant UK government thing, the warm homes, local grant, or WHLG as they call it.
Right.
Our mission here is basically to unpack how this scheme is meant to cut energy bills, tackle fuel poverty head on, and actually drive down carbon emissions.
Hmm.
We'll look at the nuts and bolts, how it works on the ground, who qualifies, and what kind of upgrades it actually funds.
And it's important to see, right, this isn't just some standalone
Yeah.
project, the warm homes. Local grant, it's actually a key part of the bigger warm homes plan.
Ah, okay, the overall.
Exactly. Which has this, well, pretty ambitious target.
Yeah.
Upgrading 5 million homes in the UK over the next 5 years.
5 million. Wow.
Yeah. And this specific bit, the WHLG, it's got a hefty £500 million allocated.
Just for this grant.
Just for this grant, yeah.
Yeah.
Earmarked for delivery between April 2025 and March 2028. And its goals are, well, they're twofold, but really linked.
Okay.
Firstly, tackling fuel poverty, getting homes as many as possible, up to an EPC Band C rating by 2030.
Right, the Energy Performance Certificate.
Precisely. And secondly, making a real contribution to the UK's net zero 2050 target. So it's about warmth, affordability, and, sustainability, all rolled into one package.
That is ambitious. But when a government scheme sounds this big, the question always is, how does it actually work? Like on the ground, what's the sort of policy thinking behind its structure? How does it make sure it reaches the right people?
That's a really good question. Because the delivery model itself is quite innovative. It's decentralized,
Yeah.
meaning it's delivered by local authorities, LAs, across England.
Okay, so local councils handle it.
Exactly. And that allows for more tailored local solutions because, what works in Cornwall might not work in Cumbria, right?
Makes sense.
And the way they allocate the funding was through an expression of interest model, an EOI.
Right, I saw that mentioned.
And this is where it's different. It wasn't a competitive bun fight where LAs had to bid against each other.
Ah, okay, so less chance of areas missing out.
Precisely. The EOI model was set up to ensure really broad geographical coverage. And the result, over 97% of all eligible LAs in England took part. They got funding. So widespread impact right from the get-go.
That's fascinating. So it's more about collaboration, getting everyone involved. But how are these LAs? I mean, some might not have huge teams experienced in big retrofit projects. How are they getting the technical help they need? Is there some kind of support structure?
Absolutely, yeah, there is. The government set up something called RISE. Yeah, it stands for Retrofit Information Support and Expertise. You can think of it as this free government-funded technical help facility. It's that backbone you mentioned.
Okay. And what does RISE actually do?
Well, it's designed to empower the LAs. It offers a big knowledge hub, full of best practices. It runs workshops, master classes, even offers tailored one-to-one support.
So real practical help.
Very practical. Help with documents, review checks, even how to engage effectively with residents. It even helps LAs team up, consortium matchmaking, they call it.
Right.
The whole point is to upskill the LAs, build their local capability, make sure the delivery is successful, and crucially, that also helps support the wider supply chain, the installers, the tradespeople we need.
Okay, we've set the scene. Now, for a lot of people listening, the big question is probably, okay, sounds good, but can I get this? So let's pull back the curtain on who's actually eligible. It's clearly aimed at low-income households, right?
Yes, definitely. That's the core target.
So how do they figure that out? Who qualifies?
Right, so there are three main ways, three pathways for a household to show they meet the income criteria. And they've really tried to simplify this compared to older schemes.
Okay, pathway one.
Pathway 1 is all about postcodes. It uses the IMD-ID indices of multiple deprivation, income deciles 1 or 2.
Right, the official deprivation measure.
Exactly. So if a household lives in one of these specific postcodes, their income is just automatically verified. Boom, done.
Wow, okay, that sounds much simpler.
It's a game changer, honestly. It cuts down so much admin and cost for the LAs, speeds everything up for the households. Less paperwork, quicker help.
Okay, that's pathway one. What's next?
Pathway 2 uses what they call low-income proxies. This covers households who are already getting certain means-tested benefits.
Like what?
Things like housing benefit, universal credit, income-based job seekers allowance, pension credit, those sorts of things. Or Alternatively, under Pathway 2, a household could qualify if they meet the EKO Flex Route 2 criteria. That usually involves combining two specific low-income indicators, often for homes that are already quite inefficient, like EPC E to G.
Got it. And the third way?
Pathway 3 is the straightforward household income threshold. If you don't fit the first two, you might still qualify if the total gross annual income for the household is £36,000 or less.
36,000 pounds gross.
Right. Or, and this is quite clever, if their income falls below the after housing cost threshold once it's been equivalized.
Right. After housing costs, what does that actually mean in practice?
It's basically the money you have left after you've paid your rent or mortgage and taxes, your actual disposable income, more or less. And equivalized just means it's adjusted fairly based on how many people live in the house, adults, kids. So it gives a much truer picture of a household's financial situation.
That sounds fairer, actually. More tailored.
That is, yeah.
Now, a really key point you mentioned earlier, self-declarations of income aren't allowed.
No, absolutely not.
And the local authorities still have the final say, making sure the money goes where it's genuinely needed. So how are LAs actually finding these households? Are they cross-referencing databases?
Yeah, they're encouraged to use various methods. Many use local data they already have access to, like council tax reduction records.
Ah, okay.
Some are even looking into more advanced analytics if they have the capability to identify eligible households that way.
Right.
But what's really being pushed, and seems very effective, is partnership working. LA's teaming up with local charities, community groups, nonprofits.
To tap into those local networks.
Exactly. These groups often have trusted relationships already. They can reach households who might otherwise slip through the net, maybe feel overwhelmed by official forms. And we've seen evidence this approach really helps reduce dropout rates. People feel more supported.
That makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned something really interesting earlier, this infill idea. Can you explain that again?
Yeah, it's quite a practical solution. So imagine you have homes that are physically connected, like a block of flats or maybe a row of terraced houses.
Okay.
With infill, all those connected homes can potentially get upgrades, even if one or two households in that block don't technically meet the income criteria on their own.
How does that work then?
Well, it's allowed, as long as the average income across the whole block meets the criteria. Or, alternatively, if at least 75% of the households in that connected group do qualify individually.
Ah, I see. So it stops projects getting stuck because of one or two houses.
Exactly. It avoids leaving awkward gaps in energy efficiency on a street or in a building. It recognizes that sometimes you need that block-level approach for things like external wall insulation to make sense.
That's quite pragmatic. Okay, so we know who might qualify. What about the homes themselves? What kind of properties are they targeting?
Right. The focus is squarely on homes with an energy performance certificate and EPC rating of D, E, F, or G.
So the less energy efficient ones.
Precisely. That's where the biggest gains in warmth and bill savings can usually be made. So resources are targeted there. Homes already rated A, B, or C are generally not eligible.
They're already doing pretty well.
Exactly.
And just to be clear, what actually counts as a domestic property for this?
Yeah, there's a simple two-part test they use. First, it has to be self-contained.
Meaning?
It needs its own private kitchen facilities, basically a sink and a stove.
Yeah.
And second, it has to be used as someone's home on more than just a short-term basis. Usually that means lived in for over 3 months.
Right. So what's excluded then?
Things like hotels, obviously, care homes, student halls of residence, and interestingly, even houseboats.
Houseboats. Why is that?
It's mainly down to the current limitations of EPC assessments. You generally can't get a standard domestic EPC for a houseboat right now.
Ah, okay. Technical reasons. Now, what about tenure? Does it matter if you own your home, rent privately, or live in social housing?
It does matter, yeah. There are different rules, and this is actually a key area where this scheme differs from some previous ones.
Oh, so?
Well, for owner-occupiers, it's straightforward. The upgrades are 100% fully funded. No contribution needed from the household at all.
That's great news for homeowners.
Definitely. Now, for the private rented sector, PRS, it's a bit different. A landlord can get one property they own fully funded through the scheme.
Just one.
Just one fully funded. If that same landlord wants upgrades on more properties they own, they have to contribute 50% of the cost for those subsequent ones.
Okay, so an incentive, but with a limit.
Exactly. And crucially, the tenants living in those rented properties, they never have to contribute a penny.
That's important.
Very. And the government department, DESNZ keeps a central database to track which landlords have used their one free go, so to speak.
Right, to manage that fairly. What about social housing?
Social housing is generally ineligible for funding except for those specific infill situations we talked about earlier.
Ah, right, connecting the blocks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even then, it's capped. Social housing can only make up a maximum of 10% of the total homes in a specific LA project. Plus, the social housing provider has to contribute 50% of the cost for those homes.
So, limited involvement for social housing, mainly focused on owner-occupied and private rented.
That's the main focus, yes.
That distinction for the private rented sector is interesting. It feels like they're trying to nudge landlords to participate more than perhaps they have in the past.
I think that's exactly the intention, yeah. Balancing support for tenants with encouraging landlord investment.
Okay. What about the type of heating people have? Does it matter if you're on the gas grid or using oil or electricity?
This is another area where they've really simplified things.
Oh, good.
Basically, all primary heating fuel types are eligible. It doesn't matter if you're connected to the gas grid or if you're off gas, using oil, coal, LPG, or electric heating. You can still apply.
That's a big change, isn't it? Some older schemes were quite restrictive.
It is a big change, yes. Much broader reach now. No one's excluded just because they use, say, oil heating.
That's definitely simpler. So, okay, if you qualify, your home qualifies. What can actually be done? What improvements are on the table?
Right, the nuts and bolts of the upgrades. The grant covers two main categories: energy performance upgrades and low carbon heating.
Okay. What falls under energy performance?
Generally, any measure that's compatible with RDSAP, that's the standard assessment procedure for energy ratings, and isn't based on fossil fuels.
RDSAP compatible. So things recognized in the official energy assessment.
Exactly. Think fabric measures first. Insulation is key cavity wall, loft, external wall insulation, internal wall insulation. Also things like double or triple glazing.
Making the building itself more efficient.
Precisely. And then there's smart measures too, like solar PV panels.
Solar panels, okay?
And crucially, PV batteries are now eligible too.
Battery storage. That's new, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It follows the update to the RDSAT methodology, RDSAP 10, which came in June 2025. That's really good news because batteries let you store the solar power you generate, maximizing bill savings.
Definitely. Okay, and you mentioned cost caps.
Yes, two distinct caps. There's £15,000 per home available for those energy performance upgrades we just talked about.
Okay.
And there's a separate £15,000 per home available specifically for low-carbon heating systems.
Two separate pots of 15K.
Exactly. NLAs can average these caps across a whole project, which gives them flexibility. So one home might need more insulation, another more on the heating.
Right, averages out. But you mentioned a key change. You can't shift money between those two pots. If you underspend on insulation, you can't use that saving to boost the heating budget.
That's right. Unlike a previous scheme, HUG2, any underspend from the 15K energy performance pot cannot be used to top up the 15K low-carbon heating pot.
Why the strict separation? What's the logic there?
It's really about ensuring dedicated focus and progress on both fronts. Making sure that improving the building fabric and transitioning to low-carbon heat both get proper investment. In the past, there might have been a temptation to just focus on, say, insulation if the heating options seemed complex or expensive. This structure forces progress on both, especially pushing the move to things like heat pumps.
Right. So speaking of low-carbon heating, what systems are prioritized?
Well, it's strongly encouraged, especially for homes off the gas grid, where it can make a massive difference to bills and carbon emissions.
Makes sense.
There's a clear hierarchy. Heat pumps, air source, or ground source are definitely the default, the preferred option.
Okay, heat pumps first. What if they aren't suitable for a property?
Yeah, if a heat pump genuinely isn't suitable, maybe due to space constraints or the property type, then other options are considered. Next in line would typically be high heat retention electric storage heaters.
Right, modern storage heaters.
Yeah, often good for flats or smaller homes that might already be electrically heated. And then in really exceptional rural cases, solid biomass might be considered, but only if other options really aren't viable.
Yeah. What about homes on the gas grid? Can they get low-carbon heating funded?
Yes, they can. Hybrid heating systems are eligible for mains gas homes.
Hybrids. So a heat pump working alongside a gas boiler.
Kind of. It's eligible if the heat pump and the boiler are separate units. But importantly, the grant only funds the heat pump component, not the boiler.
Just the heat pump part.
Exactly. And those integrated hybrid systems, where the heat pump and boiler are all in one box, they are not eligible for funding under this scheme.
Okay. Clear distinction there.
Yeah.
Now, you touched on something vital earlier, consumer protection, especially with new tech like heat pumps.
Yes, absolutely crucial.
LAs have to give clear advice about bill impacts, and the household makes the final call. Why is that mandate so important here?
It's really about building trust and ensuring these installations actually work for the people living there. Households in fuel poverty, they might be wary, they might underheat their homes currently because of cost.
Yeah, understandably.
So introducing a new system, even if it's more efficient overall, raises questions. How much will it really cost to run? Will it keep me warm enough? How does it work?
Right.
By mandating clear, honest advice up front about the likely running costs and how it compares, the scheme empowers households. They can make an informed choice that's right for them. It avoids nasty surprises later and builds confidence in the whole transition.
That feels really important for long-term success. People need to trust the technology in the process.
Absolutely. And linked to that is quality. You need these upgrades to last and perform well.
So what standards are in place?
All the work has to meet the latest PAS 2035 standards.
PAS 2035? That sounds technical. What does it ensure?
Think of it as the rule book for doing retrofit properly. It ensures a whole house approach, not just sticking bits on randomly. It looks at ventilation, insulation, heating systems together, making sure they work as a system to make the home genuinely energy efficient and comfortable.
Okay, a holistic approach.
Exactly. And the installers doing the work, they have to be Trustmark registered. That's a government-endorsed quality scheme.
Right, I've heard of Trustmark.
And they also need to be certified under PAS 2030 for the installation work itself, or MCS, certified for microgeneration tech like heat pumps and solar panels.
So certified installers using a recognized process.
Yes. It ensures the work is done to a high standard by competent people, giving assurance on quality and longevity, vital for taxpayer money, and vital for the householder.
It's really clear this scheme hasn't just appeared out of nowhere. You can see it builds on things like the old LED scheme, the home upgrade grant. Lessons have definitely been learned.
Oh, absolutely.
What stands out to you as the biggest single improvement, the strongest lesson reflected in this new WHLG grant?
That's a good question. If I had to pick one thing, I'd say it's the focus on simplification combined with pragmatism.
Simplification and pragmatism. How so?
Well, previous schemes, they sometimes got tangled up in really complex eligibility rules, especially around fuel types or rigid funding pots. This scheme simplifies things massively.
Like the fuel types being open to everyone now.
Exactly. All homes, on or off gas, doesn't matter. That's simpler. The cost caps are clearer, even with a separation. That IMDID postcode pathway for income checks.
Yeah, it sounds much easier.
It's a brilliant bit of streamlining, cuts bureaucracy hugely. And even the approach to the private rented sector, it's more generous than perhaps before, acknowledging it's a hard nut to crack, but still asking for some landlord contribution. It feels like they've tried to make it easier to deliver and easier for people to actually access the help.
Making it work in the real world, basically.
That's the idea, yeah.
So zooming out then, what does this all mean for the bigger picture? It's obviously more than just fixing leaky windows or putting in new heaters, isn't it?
Oh, much more. This grant is really about a wider societal shift, I think.
In what way?
Well, it's directly targeting support at more deprived communities across England, making sure they aren't left behind in the big net zero transition, but are actually benefiting from it: warmer homes, lower bills.
Right. Fairness is key.
Absolutely. And it's also about boosting the green economy, creating and supporting skilled jobs, installers, assessors, surveyors right across the country, not just in one or two hotspots.
Yeah.
It's trying to create that virtuous cycle.
Right.
Warm homes, lower emissions, economic opportunity.
A genuine win-win if it works as planned.
That's the goal. It's ambitious, but the potential is definitely there.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the warm homes, local grant, it's pretty clear, isn't it? This isn't just another government program. It's this really multi-layered attempt to hit fuel poverty, climate change, and economic opportunity all at once. All starting from, well, people's homes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you connect it to that bigger picture, the success of schemes like this really boils down to local engagement, doesn't it? Building trust, building capacity on the ground. It makes you wonder,